The India-Canada row continues to deepen. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has again reiterated that Ottawa has credible intelligence linking the government of India to the murder of the Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar on Canadian soil. But what is interesting is, despite the fact that he's made this allegation, there is little to no real and concrete proof that has in fact been put out by the Justin Trudeau government. Now, Michael Rubin, a former Pentagon official and also a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, has described Trudeau's successive allegations on the Indian government as a huge mistake.
Prime Minister Trudeau, I think, has made a huge mistake. He has made allegations in a manner which he hasn't been able to back. There's two possibilities here. Either he was shooting from the hip and he doesn't have the evidence to support the accusations he made against the Indian government, or there is something there, in which case he needs to explain why his government was sheltering a terrorist with blood on his hands.
Now, according to reports, the Canadian government claims that it has amassed both human and signal intelligence in a months-long investigation into Nijjar's murder. The report has said that the intelligence included communications of Indian officials who were present in Canada at the time. The report also claims that some of the information was provided by a quote-unquote unidentified ally in the Five Eyes alliance.
To India, Canada has shared the credible allegations that I talked about on Monday with India. We did that many weeks ago, and we are there to work constructively with India, and we hope that they engage with us so that we can get to the bottom of this very serious matter.
All right, so that's a statement by Justin Trudeau again on this issue. Trudeau has stressed on the word allegations but has not substantiated with any tangible evidence so far. The allegations have to be backed with evidence for them to be meaningful. But so far, the Canadian Prime Minister has chosen to offer more allegations to back his previous allegations. And now this has resulted in a bit of an issue for the Hindus living in Canada. Post Nijjar's death, Canada's leader of opposition has posted on social media and has condemned the hate that is now being directed towards the Hindu community in Canada. Meanwhile, the United States has now stepped in to pitch for mediation. Washington has said that it expects India to work with Canada to investigate the alleged involvement of the Indian government in Hardeep Singh Nijjar's murder. The American Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has said that the United States is both consulting and also coordinating with Canada on this issue. The White House has spoken of its concerns over the allegations earlier, but Blinken is the most senior American official to have commented about this so far.
We are deeply concerned about the allegations that Prime Minister Trudeau has raised. We have been consulting throughout very closely with our Canadian colleagues, and not just consulting, coordinating with them on this issue. And from our perspective, it is critical that the Canadian investigation proceed, and it would be important that India work with the Canadians on this investigation. We want to see accountability, and it's important that the investigation run its course and lead to that result.
Now, amidst these diplomatic tensions, the Indian auto giant Mahindra & Mahindra has shut its Canadian associate company Raison Aerospace Corporation. Now, Mahindra held an 11.18% stake in the firm and has filed for a voluntary winding up of its businesses there. All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of this diplomatic row that is still unfolding and shows no signs of abating whatsoever, we're being joined by Mr. Suresh K. Goel, a former Indian diplomat. He's joining us live from New Delhi at this point of time. Now, Ambassador Goel, what we are looking at play out between India and Canada, it has dragged on for 5 straight days now, and the Canadian Prime Minister does not appear in any mood to back down. But he's making these very serious allegations without furnishing any proof whatsoever. How should India respond to this?
Good evening. I think it's quite clear, really, that so far the Canadian Prime Minister has made these so-called credible allegations without really producing an iota of support in this particular case. And he has continued to make those allegations without really any support so far. Now, in this particular case, whether he actually was backed by somebody or somebody did that is very, very difficult to say. But I would say that, first of all, it's not at all expected of a mature politician to really take this kind of a step, which ultimately really slings mud in your own face.
Right.
In this particular case, I also believe that this was some evidence, particularly those email exchanges, etc., were provided by one of the Five Eye partners, and then it has been suggested that it may have been the USA which gave the evidence. Therefore, I would say that eventually, because of the consequences of this kind of an action, either they will have to back it up or
Right.
back out. That's all I can say.
Absolutely, indeed. They have to, as you put it, back it up or to back out of this. But what is interesting, Ambassador, is the fact that, what Justin Trudeau's and also the sources which are now, putting out information on this say that this is based on information that was collected by putting the Indian diplomatic staff under surveillance. Information was gathered through that. And this was also apparently shared by one of the other Five Eye nations. We do not know which amongst the other
Yes.
Five Eye nations this is. Now, the question that I want to ask you is, why is the other, Eye nation not coming out and speaking about this?
Maybe we don't know what kind of reasons they might have, but my own sense would be that they might be putting some kind of a pressure on India for whatever reason they might have, or they may have some other objective in mind. Now, it is interesting to note that one of the Five Eye nations, the USA, which is also a very important G7 partner, G7 member, which is also an important strategic partner of India,
Right.
and have come back very recently from a very successful G20 meeting. Anthony Blinken has said very clearly that they are coordinating and cooperating with Canada, and they do expect India to cooperate with the investigation.
Right.
Similarly, Jack Sullivan, the NSA himself, has suggested that there is no question of this creating a wedge between
Absolutely.
Canada and the USA, and they do expect India to cooperate.
Right.
Cooperate with what? Therefore, it's very confusing situation there, where we do not know which side is the USA on.
Absolutely.
Because if USA is backing Canada up on this, that clearly means a wedge within the evolving global order, where China is a disruptor and India is working with the USA
Right.
to really in the interest of the new world order. So whose side is USA on is not very clear at all, really. But we will know the situation clearly in the next few days.
Absolutely, indeed. We will get to know something about it in the next few days. My last final question to you, Ambassador, is this. Considering the kind of refuge that the Khalistani separatists have got in Canada, do you think India has so far been a little soft in dealing with Canada because of the validation and support that the Canadian governments have given to the Khalistani elements?
I don't think there is a question of being soft, really, in this case. Canada took the first step. They expelled one of our diplomats. We took the retaliatory step. These are all gradually coordinated, graduated and measured steps taken in this particular case. I think we will need to really see what further we can do. And actually, do we need to do anything further? As I said, unless we know correctly the diplomatic situation, the picture, it's very difficult to forecast or predict. But so far, I don't think that we have been soft in Canada. We have taken sufficiently strong action. We cancelled the visas, or we cancelled the visa process. We have thrown the diplomat out. I don't think there is anything more that we need to do for the time being.
At the moment. All right. Thank you very much, Indian Ambassador,
Yeah.
for joining us and getting us
Okay.
that perspective there. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.